Today I'm looking at the Aries flip case for Apple iPhone, which I assume was named after the Greek god of war and courage. The company i-Blason recently sent it out for review, and it's available for the iPhone Air, iPhone 17 Pro and iPhone 17 Pro Max. And you can buy it in blue, black, orange and desert colours. The specific version I'll be showing you today is for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. It can be purchased from the i-Blason website or on Amazon, retailing at $34.99 in North America and £29 here in the UK. As you can see, the Aries Flip is quite a stylish case visually, but make no mistake, this is a case that was designed for protection, as your phone literally goes inside the case. The bottom half of the case is made from thick TPU and polycarbonate plastic, whilst the top half of the case has an integrated 9H tempered glass screen protector. i-Blason present the Aries Flip in a nice box showing both halves of the case. The box includes a solitary wet wipe and dry cloth, instructions and an extended warranty card. Unfortunately, no dust stickers are provided in the box. The tempered glass screen protector has a message stating that you should remove any existing screen protectors to ensure proper adhesion. But in the interest of science, I kept my existing tempered glass screen protector on to see how much of a difference it would make. My iPhone's buttons did not properly align with the front part of the case, though interestingly, all buttons still worked great once I had put the bottom half of the case on. Not surprisingly, typing on an iPhone with two tempered glass screen protectors on top was beyond frustrating. With my science experiment over, I removed my original screen protector and put my phone back into the Aries Flip case. I would love i-Blason to include multiple wet wipes and dust stickers in the package, but overall, the installation process is a breeze. Compared to most cases on the market, this case is obviously a little heavier and a little chunkier, but you do gain military grade 20-foot drop protection for your phone. I weighed the case in at 101 grams or 3.6 ounces, giving me a total combined weight with my phone of 329 grams or 11.6 ounces. This is a little heavier than the Supcase UV grip with screen protector setup I had recently, which weighed 313 grams or 11 ounces. The case has clicky buttons, a dust cover for the Type-C charging port, and full protection for the iPhone's camera control button. At the front of the case is the scratch-resistant screen protector, which sits a few millimeters below the outer case. Whilst at the back of the case, you'll see a zinc alloy kickstand at the top that can also be used as a ring grip. The kickstand rises a few millimeters above the camera area to give you some extra protection there, but unlike the Supcase case I reviewed recently, the camera area is exposed, which surprised me given its military style protection. The back of the case boasts an N52 magnet which offers up to 1,800 grams of force. This allows the case to be fully compatible with MagSafe accessories. In addition to MagSafe charging, Qi wireless charging works too, but with some wireless chargers you will have to make sure that the phone is aligned on the charger properly. So at this stage, my iPhone 17 Pro Max has been inside this Aries Flip case for about 2 weeks. So I think I'm in a good position now to talk more about its features, my experience of using the case, wireless charging, and just give you my overall opinion of using it. So, design. I think the design is good. I do like the color scheme here. We've got orange there for the action button. The buttons are very clicky, really nice. And we've got some i-Blason branding there. We've got a little option there for a lanyard. I've not had any issues with the camera control button either. So I've not had any issues using that. I think visually it is a nice looking case, but I think that of all the colours that are available, I don't think black is the best. And I think that's just because I've been stuck with a lot of black cases over the years. So I kind of find black cases a little boring now. I'd prefer to go, for green or yellow or, just something a little bit different. It's not terrible, but yeah, this would not have been the colour that I picked. But I do think the case looks good, and obviously one of the things about this case is the protection. And, as you know, all the marketing images talk about drop protection, military grade protection, etc. But you can just see it here. I mean, just look at it. Look at the lip there from the top of the case down to that tempered glass screen protector. So, you've not just got the lip, you've got the tempered glass as well, and then your phone's display is underneath, and it's just a lot of protection here. It's big, thick, rubbery case. It does add weight, does make your phone chunkier. Not an issue for me personally. I'm just kind of used to walking around with bigger cases. From a grip perspective, though, I don't like it. If I'm honest, I think it's not a nice phone to hold. As you know, I recently reviewed the Supcase UB grip, and this one has really good grip, really nice grip, very nice to hold in the hand. And with this one, I mean, you can see it there. Just looking at it, you can see it. I mean, it's quite flat. And yeah, there's just nothing there to offer grip. And this part here, it just feels like a pane of glass. It is just so smooth. So from a gripping perspective, I don't think it's good. I feel it's a little bit too slidey for me. I have noticed as well, it's maybe hard to show you in the camera, but I have got a couple of little scratches on this back part as well. It seems to be quite easy to scratch that if you're using MagSafe accessories. You can see a little scratch there. But the magnet is strong, so that's good. It's a really good magnet, so no issue using any MagSafe accessories. With regards to the tempered glass screen protector, it's hard to compare screen protectors sometimes, but one thing I have noticed about this is that I think it looks okay. I've not had any issues from a typing perspective or anything like that, but you can see it does smudge very easily, and it's noticeably smudgier than my last setup. So that is something I have noticed. Comparing the integrated screen protector here to the screen protector that I had before, the one that I had applied on, this one is not as good. Now, maybe it protects it more, I don't know, but just from a usability point of view, it does seem to get smudgier. And you can see even when the phone is on, you can still see all those smudge marks where my finger's been. So yeah, that's something I noticed, that the glass seems to smudge very easily. So you have to give it a wipe every so often. Yeah, but even that, look, even the wipe is showing now. So yes, it's a very smudgy glass protector. I think there is a debate about, if that's the best option anyway. Come on, turn on. Previously, I had the phone case, and then I had a screen protector. And just for context, this one cost me £26 from Amazon, and then I think the screen protector was 16 or 17. So we're talking about £40 to £45 for the case and then the screen protector. Here, we have an all-in-one solution, and it retails at £29. So my previous setup would retail at £40 to £45 here in the UK. This is a lot cheaper. It's significantly cheaper. There's a big discount there. And that's good. And I think that's going to appeal to many people. I think it is. I think a lot of people like the idea of just having a case with a screen protector all built in, and your phone's inside there and it's protected. I get that, especially because a lot of cases out there don't work well with third-party screen protectors made by other companies. So that's good. I think one of the potential downsides, though, is that yourself, if you don't clean your phone properly, then you might use 2 or even 3 screen protectors until you get it applied right. That was not the case here, but there is that issue that if you don't apply it correctly and then the screen protector gets smudged, or there's dust or whatever there, and they don't give you dust stickers, if that occurs, then what are you going to do? But I think the bigger issue is, typically with a screen protector, if it gets scratched or it gets smashed, cracked, whatever, you take it off and you put another one back on. And you can do that here, but remember, if you have to replace this screen protector because it gets damaged in any way, then you have to replace the whole case. So it's just something to bear in mind. There is the potential that if you scratch or damage the screen protector, you have to replace the whole case, but it's a cheaper solution. And ultimately, if that happens, then the case has done its job, and it's prevented your phone from being damaged. Kickstand. So The kickstand is really good as a ring grip, as you can see there, very nice. When you've got your phone horizontally, you've got it in landscape mode, it's fantastic. That kickstand is awesome, absolutely awesome. Now, you'll see in the marketing material that it says that you can do it vertically as well, and you can do it vertically, it does that. Maybe up to about there is okay, but you're not really getting much height there in comparison to the last case that you can pretty much, get to that angle. Here you're limited. So the kickstand, if you're watching movies or doing anything like that, it's fine. But if you're used to setting your phone in a more upright position, this is going to frustrate you because it is a lot more limited. My big issue here is that this part is exposed. So it's not really an issue with the kickstand, it's more like this area. In the last case that I reviewed, this Supcase one, you can see that the whole area is protected. Yes, the camera lenses are exposed, but you're not exposing this area. And I've noticed actually using this case over the last few weeks that I've had a few marks and I've had to get the cloth out and wipe it a little bit just because this is exposed. I mean, you really do have good protection here when the kickstand is down. Now, if this is opened, you don't really have any protection at all. So I guess potentially if it's on a table and you knock it, you could hurt your camera sensors. So that's maybe a flaw. But when that's down, you've got a really big lip. No issue putting this on a table or anything like that. That's all good. But this area is exposed. And I do think that if you're looking for ultimate protection, then, as far as surviving drops, this part is all protected. This part is not. There are a lot of other companies doing the same thing. They've got very protective cases, but they're leaving this area exposed. So they're not the only company doing that. But I prefer that. I prefer most of it to be protected. That's just my preference. It's up to you. Some of you might not like that, but that's my preference. Okay, wireless charging. This is a good, but there's an asterisk there. There is something I need to talk about, and it's something that you have to be aware of. And it's a similar story to the last case. When I reviewed this, Supcase reached out and they said, thanks for doing the video, but just to clarify, that case does support wireless charging. Now, if you watched my review of this case, what I said was MagSafe charging was great. Wireless charging did not appear to work, but if you have got a very strong wireless charger, it might work. Now, they said, yes, it does support wireless charging. They initially referenced a YouTube video showing it, but that was MagSafe charging. But they did then send me a video they recorded themselves, and it showed you this particular case being charged on a Swan Scout charger. And this is not a magnetic charger, it's not a MagSafe charger, it is a Qi wireless charger, pure Qi wireless charger, and it was working. So, what is going on? Well, we've got a similar story here. And what I mean by that is, with a MagSafe type charger like that, there's no issues. It charges. Now, that is Qi 2. That's a ZIKE charger. Now, with my other chargers, like this one here, it's not charging at all. At all. Like this particular, now this is a kind of cheap old charger. It's like Qi 1.3 or something. But I don't have an issue with this charger with my Android phones, and I don't have a charger with the iPhone or with my iPhone 17 Pro Max when it was in a Spigen case, so I've not had any issues with it. But this case doesn't appear. So it's the same situation as I had before. It doesn't appear to charge. Now, technically, I can get a charge on it if it gets to the right area. But it doesn't work with my existing chargers. What it does work with here is this charger. This is a Qi wireless charger, and it does work. But what's happening is it is magnetically aligned. So Supcase kind of wanted me to clarify that previously because they said it does support wireless charging. And they are correct, but you have to put a little bit of an asterisk there because of the situation. And the situation is that these sticker cases, they don't work that well with older chargers, older Qi wireless chargers. They work great with MagSafe chargers. They should work well with most of the newer tier wireless chargers. But it depends. You really do have to have a high quality one to kind of penetrate this. Now, there is a little bit of confusing on this as well, just on the whole Qi wireless standard, because it gets a bit confusing. You can see I've highlighted MagSafe here, and the reason being that Qi wireless charging was a wireless charging standard, and then MagSafe came out, and MagSafe was a magnetic aligned wireless charger, but it was compatible with Qi charging up to 7.5 watts. Then it was revised at 15 watts, and then it was 25 watts. Now, the confusing thing for a lot of people is that when Qi 2.0 came out, it incorporated the magnetically aligned feature. So Qi 2 moving forward, Qi 2 means that it's wireless charging with a magnet, which is what that is. But essentially, Qi wireless charging with a magnet is MagSafe. So that's where the confusing is. So with that out of the way, does this support wireless charging? I would say that it does if you have very high quality, strong chargers. But there's a lot of chargers on the market like mine that they don't work. This one doesn't have any kind of grooves there, and it just doesn't work. When it works normally with my iPhone, normally with other cases for my iPhone 17 Pro Max, it just doesn't work here. And it's the same story here. I think the story here is that it could work, but you can see that the position here is preventing it here. Because I don't know why they've got this design, but this kind of positioning is preventing it from working. But if I kind of slide it along, it sometimes catches and I get a little bit of a charge. But it just demonstrates that the mounting position is quite important for some of these chargers. And yeah, I think for this type of case, you're going to struggle sometimes if you don't have one that supports magnetic charging. But there are chargers out there. So what Supcase said about this case here, and the same applies here, is technically true. These cases are thick, they're chunky. That's how you get that strong kind of protection, military grade protection. That's how you get it. The downside is that for a lot of pure Qi wireless chargers without magnetic support, you might struggle to get a charge. It's just something to bear in mind, because I think a lot of people that have got Android phones, like myself as well, you might still have a lot of these Qi wireless chargers that have not been updated to add magnetic support. Something that's going to be a thing in the past, because obviously we're seeing like Google, etc. Google phones have now got magnets at the back of the phone. But yes, that's just something to clarify. MagSafe charging is excellent. Charger here, no problem as well. So it is supported. I know it's a kind of long-winded story there about it, but I think it's important to clarify that, because wireless charging is something that most of us do use. So, do I like this case? Can I recommend it? I think the design is awesome. I think the price is awesome as well. £29, $35. You're getting a lot for your money here. You really are getting a lot for your money. You're getting a good looking case, you're getting a huge amount of protection, and yeah, that's the key thing there. You've got a really good phone case for your money. A lot of value there. I don't think this case is for everyone, and I said the same thing about the Supcase one that I reviewed as well. Not everyone's going to like bigger, heavier, chunkier phone cases. They're not for everyone. I quite like them. I do appreciate that added protection. I think it's a really good looking case. But I will say, in comparison to the previous case that I tested, I don't like this one as much. So this is a fantastic case, and I can see that it's a fantastic case, and I can see why other people would like it. But my own preference is that this is not the one for me. And it's not the one for me for a few reasons. And I've pointed out most of these in the video. One is this area is exposed. There's no protection there. That's something I would like. The other thing is the kickstand. The kickstand's great as a ring grip, but I just don't like that you can't stand it up vertically like you can this one here. And I think the biggest thing is the grip. The grip is something that I found a little bit annoying. It feels very slidey on the back. And, it's one of those things, I'm all for having fantastic protection and chunkier phones to protect your phone, but if it's slidier, if there's not great grip there, then you're more likely to drop the phone because it's going to slip out of your hand. So It might not bother other people, but I just don't like, it's too smooth for me at the back. Maybe it's a weird thing for me, but I think it's just too smooth at the back. It doesn't have fantastic grip for me. The other issue, and it's kind of a pro and a con, is that integrated screen protector. Most other phone cases, you're not going to get that, but you do get it here. I do think it's a pro and a con, but having that all-in-one solution, I can see why it's attractive to a lot of people. You know, you pay your £30, you pay your, $35 or whatever, and you've got everything. You've got your phone, you've got your screen protector, all in one. You don't have to worry about your screen protector being compatible with your case either. You've got an all-in-one solution. With these types of tempered glass screen protectors as well, I don't remember one ever being scratched badly. They tend to just crack if it has a bad fall. But in that situation, you would have to replace it. And as I said, normally you would just replace a screen protector. Here you would have to replace the whole thing. But screen protectors are getting more expensive. Over the last few years, the quality screen protectors have moved up from being like $5 to $10 to like 10 to 20, or even like above $20. £20, £30. There are some expensive screen protectors out there. So, from a value perspective, I can see why a lot of people would go for that. But for me, I do think this one was a better solution for me, for all those reasons. But I do think a lot of you watching this will like this case. So yeah, take what I've said on board, check out some other reviews, and check out the official website as well to learn more about it, and take into account what I said about wireless charging as well. It does support it, but some of the older chargers, like these types of ones, might not work so well with it. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed the video, and I hope I've answered most of the questions you would have had about this Aries flip case. I think it is a high quality case, and I do think a lot of you guys out there will like it. If there's anything I've not covered, post a question down below. I'll do my best to answer them. And if you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, give it a subscribe, and until next time, take care.